All right, the natives are getting restless. We have one more presentation. In our spring semester here at AHCS, our juniors and seniors are required to present a symposium on a social issue topic of their choosing. This year, we have asked Ms. Sophia DeLuna, a junior, to come and present her symposium on the effects of social media.
Okay, hello. Good evening. Imagine a world where social media doesn't exist. Imagine a world where social media doesn't exist. Would society's mental health improve? Believe it or not, studies have shown that it would. The rate of adolescents reporting symptoms of major depression in a given year increased by 52% from 2005 to 2017. From 2009 to 2017, it grew by 63% in adults ages 18 to 25. Ever since the release of phones, mental health concerns have been prominent, especially in today's generation. With the rising dominance of the media, it's easy to get caught up. Oftentimes, we don't realize how much we consume. For example, the average screen time in the US is a whopping 7 hours. To put that into perspective, that's 29% of a full day. However, if we take away the 8 hours averagely spent sleeping, that's 44%. Nearly half of our day is spent on a screen. When will we wake up? The impact of social media on society is profound, especially when considering the power of words, unhealthy comparisons, addiction, and the downfall of productivity. From mental health concern to strained relationships, the effects of social media consumption are far-reaching. As we navigate this digital landscape, assessing how these factors shape our interactions and behaviors is crucial. The power of words online is more impactful than you think. Words reflect our hearts, so we must watch what we say. As Jesus states in Matthew 12:34, out of the mouth outflows the heart. So not only do our words reveal the condition of our hearts, but they can impact one's thoughts and emotions. Whether it's you speaking to someone or someone speaking to you, words can inspire and work as a source of encouragement, or they can dispirit one and function as a source of discouragement. I'm sure you all have had a personal experience with someone talking bad about you, or maybe even vice versa. Even if you claim it doesn't affect you, it might still sit in the back of your mind. Doesn't feel so good, does it? So why is it different when it's online? When online, users often make the mistake of dehumanizing other users, believing they're nothing more than a profile picture without feelings or emotions or a real human face behind it. Because of this, cyberbullying is a big issue when it comes to social media. Regardless, we shouldn't wrap up our self-worth into what others say or think about us, especially when we're made in the image of God, and His Word is the only thing that can place value in us. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Comparison is a thief of joy." What did he mean by this? Roosevelt warned us not to compare ourselves to others, especially as it can cause discontent and envy. This leads me to my next significant issue we face online: unrealistic standards. Since the media constantly exposes us to new content, we've become desensitized to reality. How so? Let me explain. Whenever we open TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, we're immediately bombarded with flashy content grasping for our attention. With each post, we're introduced to another piece of content that showcases the best moments of someone's life, or even the highlight reel of a brand product. This carefully curated content can give us a false sense of reality and make us feel like we're not measuring up to others. And now, more than ever, kids are comparing themselves to full-grown adults who seemingly have their life together. Ever wonder why we have kids who look older than they actually are? That's because they're fighting to stay on top of the latest trends the adults of the media have created. But the same thing could be said the other way around. Some adults are competing with youth by trying to stay young and hip, as some may say, with anti-aging cream, Botox, facelifts, laser treatment, and other things like unnatural cosmetic surgeries. Why doesn't anyone want to be their age anymore? Sure, aging is a natural process compared to before the fall. However, it's still important to remember that what we see on social media is just a highlight reel, not an accurate representation of someone's life. We should focus on our journey and progress as Christians, laying up our treasures in heaven, instead of tying up our possessions and self-worth into comparing what we are and what we have to others. By now, you might wonder, if social media is so bad, why can't we just control our use of it? It can't be that hard to put our phone down. Hypothetically, it doesn't seem so difficult. However, in reality, a lot more people struggle with putting down their phones than you think. Let's take a look at this video where Jubilee challenges 7 teens to resist their phones for 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Stop!
I never knew it was so tempting. Like, usually it's on demand. You can do it whenever you want. I feel relaxed, just, ignoring everything. Just being, like, in the present, even though I'm not doing anything. Feels good. News, Snapchat, text.
You'd likely conclude it's rather pitiful. The ongoing struggle to go even a few minutes without checking our phones is pathetic. Our dopamine receptors are fried, and the media is one to blame. The dopamine reward loop is a cycle that begins with reaching for your phone. This simple action triggers a release of dopamine, instantly boosting your mood. As you scroll through most social media or check notifications, the dopamine rush continues to flow. When you finally set your phone aside, the dopamine levels slowly drop. But before long, the urge to pick your phone strikes again, restarting the cycle. I'm sure many of you have become self-aware of this, and out of those who have, raise your hand if you have or have considered deactivating your social media. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you actually followed through with it? That's a lot less hands. Why is that? The fear of missing out is a massive reason we'll back out of taking a break from social media. According to the National Library of Medicine, the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, includes two processes. Firstly, the perception of missing out, and secondly, a compulsive behavior to maintain these social connections. That's why we feel like we have our hands tied. Yet, addiction is another contributor to why we can't simply give up social media. Consider the symptoms of drugs: compulsive behavior, dopamine release, escapism, negative consequences, and potential withdrawal symptoms, impacting a person's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. The same could be said about the effects of social media. Spending excessive time on social media is a compulsive behavior. Scrolling or checking notifications releases dopamine. Using it to escape from negative emotions is escapism. Losing cognitive function, motivation, or healthy relationships are negative consequences, and being unable to access one's preferred platform can affect one's psychological well-being. These are primary symptoms of addiction, and if that's not concerning, I don't know what is. 1 Corinthians 6:12 declares, "All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be dominated by anything." This verse reminds us that while social media may be permissible, we should not allow it to dominate our lives and take precedence over our relationship with God and other important aspects of our life. Social media has also affected how students and employees perform in school and the workplace. Because of social media overuse, 9.5% of employee productivity is wasted daily. How? Often, we can get caught up in constantly checking personal social media accounts during work or school hours, acting as a significant distraction, which leads to decreased productivity and lower quality of work. Additionally, the influx of information in social media platforms can be overwhelming, making it difficult to focus on deep work effectively. On another note, social media users frequently bear a negative view of work, but they don't just stop there. They also look for others who might agree with them. This creates an echo chamber in which the belief that work is not valued is promoted among many. Therefore, workers must put in the bare minimum. However, work is a God-given responsibility we must honor, as we can see when God commanded us to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue, and have dominion over the earth in Genesis 1:28, also known as the creation mandate. God established work as an institution before the fall, although now sin has twisted it. But that doesn't mean we can't continue to honor God through our work and strive for excellence in all that we do. As stated in 1 Corinthians 10:31, in all that we do, we must do it for the glory of God. In summary, my goal isn't for you to view social media as entirely negative. In fact, by finding or creating a Christian community online, you can use it for good. However, I hope you take this as a warning to be mindful of your online presence for your benefit and the benefit of others, especially since we must carry out the greatest command to love God and love our neighbor. How can we claim to be believers if we prioritize social media over the Word of God, the sacred book on which our very teachings are founded on? Therefore, let us use social media as a tool, not a distraction. We must monitor our use, handling it with much intentionality, as it does contain the power to consume us and distract us from our relationship with God and others. By doing so, we can positively impact the world around us and fulfill our callings as followers of Christ. Remember, the power of social media lies in our hands, and it is up to us to use it for good.